Hey team, good morning. This is Thomas Rowe from Blueprint to Bluechip. Again, I'm joined with my host Erin Sarles, and George Wilmore is our guest 3 times in a row. 3 times he's making a three-peat here. What we're doing with Flex Friday is it's just a new platform, a new premise that what we wanted to do. Erin and I were talking about things earlier. Maybe it was a week or two ago. We were talking about what if we just did a current event sport recap and just kind of spent about 20-25 minutes talking about what's currently going on. We talked to George, and George, who has extensive background in sports and NIL, and I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself and have him tell you a little bit about himself. And then we'll jump into some current events. George, welcome. Thanks for joining us for the third time. Three-peat, I love it.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm trying to create a dialogue over here, but thank you guys for having me again. Again, my name is George Wilmore. I am an NIL director and player developer for Elevate Sports Group. Got into the NIL sector after coaching for 11 years, coached college basketball at Fairmont State for 5 years, and coached at West Virginia Tech for 6 years and 3 years as a head coach. Loved coaching, loved helping young student athletes be better versions of themselves. But, I think I have a higher calling now to reach out to even more student athletes, helping them and their families kind of navigate what college success looks like, how to get different brand deals, and how to, just maximize their revenue sharing. And so I'm appreciative of the platform that I'm in, and I'm ready to get started today.
Right on. Erin, good morning. Thanks,
Good
Erin.
morning.
Erin's playing around with the tech side of it. I love it. So we're just kind of learning on the fly. But hey, team, what we're going to talk about so now that we had George's introduction, he's going to be the perfect guest to talk about the NIL and then the NCAA Final Four, both men and women's, and then we'll get into Tiger Woods, and then we'll finish out with NFL draft. So, George, I don't know if you saw it, Tegan Cavan. Okay, she is a pitcher for the Texas Longhorns, and she just signed a $1.25 million NIL deal with Nike. Is that going to change the landscape of women's sports? Is it women just keeping up with men? What are your thoughts on Tegan cementing a $1.25 million NIL deal?
First of all, congrats to her. That's awesome. Whoever is helping her negotiate the contract for that, good for them as well. I've always thought that college athletes should get paid. Obviously, 1.2 million for a softball pitcher is amazing. So she's setting the trend. And Nike is Nike. I have on Nike now, and I think it's the best brand. No offense to Under Armour, no offense, but Nike, they pay people, and so the more credibility Nike is getting throughout the years, the more they're going to be able to pay people. And so she's worth it. She is a national championship pitcher. She's like that. And so I am very happy that someone who's actually a competitor getting paid, because you will see a lot of these players capitalize on revenue sharing, and no offense, like, they're not good enough. And so she's showing that, hey, I am a champion. I am putting in this work. I deserve to get the money that I'm getting. So the fruits of her labor, she's showing that. And so
Right.
a lot of different athletes are going to start to see this, and hopefully this is going to be motivation for them to now work even harder to reap the rewards of how hard they're working.
No doubt. And what are your thoughts? You have a daughter that plays softball. How would you feel if Peyton called you and said, I just signed a 1.5 million?
I'd be like, you go, girl. Yeah, I would be ecstatic for her. I think women's sports is grossly underserved. And I think, to your point, George, what a celebration for somebody that's accomplished. So not paid on her potential. She's delivered. She's been performing. And so I think that it's such a great way to recognize that top talent. And I think We need to see
Mhm.
more of that, of you've been here, you've proven yourself. This is your second or third year. I believe she might be a sophomore, but incredibly talented. Obviously, I'm an avid softball fan. I love to see this. I sent it to my daughter actually the first second I saw it, because it's like there is just such tremendous opportunity if you really perform and are a standout. So
Right.
kudos to this beautiful young lady. Well deserved.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's going
Hey, look,
to, sorry, and it's
no,
going
go ahead.
to put more notoriety on different sports, because we hear NIL, we hear revenue sharing, and we automatically think football, men's and women's basketball. Now you're going to start to see more athletes from other sports capitalize on this. And like I said, Nike, they can pay people, so they can pay softball. Nike is very big in the track and field scene, so don't be surprised if you start to see some track and field athletes capitalize from Nike as well.
I totally agree with you. I think it's great because right now everybody is going to tune into softball, especially Texas softball, to see, is she worth it, right? Not to say that there's haters out there. And then when they turn into the games, if you don't think Nike's going to have all around the fences, Nike softball, the Nike swoosh and all that, it's great PR for them. I mean, I had never heard of this woman until you texted it to me. Not that I follow softball, but now I did a deep dive on her, and she's exceptional. She's an exceptional athlete. She's an exceptional woman. She's great for women's sports. And you're right, it's going to just bleed into other sports, men and women's track and field. Because when you think about certain sports like swimming, gymnastics, softball, and track and field, it's only really has a good life every 4 years at the Olympics, right? That's when we really see it. Softball is a little
Right.
bit more where we see it year in and year out. It's starting to gain a lot of attention. But I couldn't agree more. I just hope, and I'm sure Tegan is taken care of. You think at $1.25 million, that's probably stacked with incentives. I didn't see the deal. I don't do deals. But then you got taxes, agent fees, and everything attached to that. Let's just make sure she's really smart about that. And she just doesn't become one of those statistics where she's 4 or 5 years removed and she's broke and bankrupt. So I'm sure she's got a good team around her.
Girls are a little different unless we go on a shopping spree. But I mean, shout out.
Right.
I think you hit it on the head. This girl has performed. She's a junior, so she was the Big 12 freshman player of the year. She was the outstanding player of the World Series last year when they won the national champion. This girl is delivered. She pitched a complete game, only allowed 2 runs. So this is, I think, how NIL should be done. Is you've performed, you now receive this money, you're consistent. And I'm betting, I haven't caught a bunch of softball yet this year, but I can guarantee the girl's performing as good, if not better, than she has in the previous year. So kudos to Texas softball. They're going to be tough to beat again this year, and there's some great teams out there.
I think it's great for women's sports in general. And speaking of Nike, you can't think of Nike without Tiger Woods. So good old Tiger. I'm not going to hate on the guy. I don't know the situation. My only discussion with anybody and everybody is, now we know that he wasn't drinking. He blew zero, so it was probably some other, whether it be pain pills or whatnot. I just don't understand at this point in this day and time why you don't have a driver or take an Uber or something. George, what are your thoughts on Tiger Woods getting a DUI and rolling his car, and what it's going to do to his legacy?
It's unfortunate for sure. We grew up, a Tiger Woods fan. Tiger was the pinnacle of golf for a very, very, very long time. I actually played Tiger Woods in middle school in a Black History play. So it's definitely sad. He obviously needs some help, and I do feel sorry for him. I feel bad for him because all the surgeries that he's gone through. He's gone through back surgeries. He's gone through knee surgeries, and so I can give him some grace with that. But like you said, you are pretty much a billionaire. You can hire a driver. You can hire pick anyone out, and they will drive Tiger Woods home. And so
Sure.
is where a lot of a lot of athletes go wrong when they think that, oh, they're invincible.
Right.
You know, oh, I've only had such and such drinks. I only had this. I've done this before. I can do this again. And then they see themselves crashed or in a predicament that they didn't think they were going to be in. And so my thing is he's lucky nothing worse happened to him,
Correct.
because the way that car was sitting, it could have been even worse. And so
100%.
hopefully this is a life lesson, of hopefully he sees a reality check, like God is protecting you for sure, but let's get our act together, because the next time you may not be so lucky.
Agreed. What are your thoughts, Erin?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we all can empathize with him. I mean, I feel sad for him because, to your point, he has a lot of, surgeries, etc. So I get like where he's at, but he also has 2 kids. So this legacy is more than just you. It's about what do you need to do in order to clean up your act to take care of your kids, and I think it's
Right.
so sad because I never watched golf until Tiger came on the scene, and he's electric. I mean, and he is electrifying, and people, you watch the crowds, and when he was away from the game and then come back to the game, he has such a positive impact on the game. This is just the aspect where it's like, you want to get this cleaned up. So this isn't what people remember about you. They remember that you won the most majors, the stuff that you were chasing, you got to find that again. So hopefully this is his wake up call to get back to greatness and not mired in controversy.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Look, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what demons he's battling. But at the end of the day, you're right, George. He's a billionaire, and you could pay somebody $100,000 a year to be your driver, have them sign an NDA, and say,
I'll go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll drive the yacht. Just kidding.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough about Tiger.
Any day of the week.
He will figure it out. So Tiger, best of luck to you. We're all pulling for you. I think the majority of Americans in the world are pulling for you. Let's get into the Final Four. So we've got let's start ladies first. We've got the Final Four, the ladies bracket. We're dealing with South Carolina, UConn, Texas, and UCLA. All 4 are number 1 teams. So that kind of played out beautifully. George, what's your take on who's going to win? And give me your rationale.
Well, me being from South Carolina, I'm not going away from Dawn. I have to. She's my girl. I told you the last podcast, I love her and Niall Ivy. Those are my two go-tos. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard to beat UConn. Like, they probably are the most complete team, but those South Carolina girls, they got some ish to them, and that's going to be an amazing game. And so is Texas and UCLA. Those 2 teams, Coach Vic, he's a great coach. I forgot the UCLA coach's name, so forgive me if she ever sees this. But I love the way the women's game is going now. So surprised that, and kind of a little upset that there isn't like a quote unquote Cinderella in the Final Four. But it's going to be 2, hopefully 3 amazing games. But I'm going with South Carolina.
Okay. It's Corey Close is the coach out there at UCLA.
Corey
Erin,
Close. Okay.
who do you like?
Who do I like? I am with George. I love the evolution of the women's game. I think it's great to see it's becoming very competitive, and there are a lot of great players out there. I agree with George. I think it's going to be hard to beat UConn, but gosh, I think the dark horse on the West Coast is UCLA for me. And so let's see if it's UCLA against UConn in the final game. But I think UConn's going to be pretty tough to beat.
Right on. Okay. Well, I kind of compare today's, I mean, UConn basketball, we've talked about this before, when Nick Saban was coaching down in Alabama, my brothers and I used to say that Alabama, they don't recruit, they reload, right? And that's exactly what UConn does, women's basketball. So like the 92 Olympics, when we had the dream team, the rest of the world just had to shoot for a silver. And when America played and we only won by 18, they got some shit for that. Like, oh, you guys only won by 18? Well, what's wrong with you? So I really do believe UConn's going to I think that UConn's going to win big. And I think the real championship, sorry, UCLA, sorry, Texas, but I think the real championship is going to be UConn and South Carolina. And then I'm going to call UConn and Texas. UConn takes it all. And, I've got LA roots too for 25 years, but I just think Texas is looking pretty solid. So that's my call, UConn. You two are picking South Carolina. We'll definitely.
No, I got UConn. I got UConn.
You got UConn. Okay. I like it. But you called UConn and UCLA in the final.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
UCLA. George, who do you got in the final? South Carolina and
who do I have in the final? South Carolina and Texas.
Okay.
I'm going away. I'm going against the grain today.
All right. I like it. I don't know. You might be onto something. Who knows? But hey, let's be honest with you. Right now, and we'll get into the men's next. Anybody can take it. You got a roster full of ballers. I mean, on all 4 teams. So anybody could take it. If they just show up and gel at the right time, UConn is beatable, no question. Not likely, but they are beatable. Let's move over to the men, where we have Michigan and Arizona. Super excited about that. I think that's going to be the championship game. And then we got UConn and Illinois. But before we get into that, George, I got to ask you, with your basketball pedigree, 10 seconds left, you're up by 2. All you have to do is hold on to the ball. What was that bullshit?
A lot of, obviously, people are going to, this is always going to be a topic of conversation. Why didn't Caden Boozer just hold the ball? But a lot of he's going to get critics, and he's getting critics from a lot of people who have never played basketball before.
Sure.
Ever. And so I feel bad for him because he was a freshman. He panicked. And should he have held the ball? Yes. Is there a 10-second call? No. But we don't know what we're going to do if we're in that situation. So yes, that play was one of the defining moments of that game, but you guys were up 15 points.
Right.
Like, let's talk about the dumb fouls that got UConn back in the game. Let's talk about the missed defensive assignments. Let's talk about the missed box outs. Let's talk about the ill-advised shots. That one play didn't lose Duke the game. Everything compound to that one big play, yes. But Duke didn't lose that game in the last game. And so, yes, Caden Boozer, you're the point guard, keep the ball. There's no need to throw the ball away. But coaches are going to now refocus themselves, and that's going to be a late game situation. Like, hey, if we're up such and such points, if we're up 2 points with 10 seconds to go or 9, and if that does happen, if we turn the ball over, do we foul, or do we just let them shoot a 3 and pray that they miss? So if I'm a coach, I'm saying, okay, if we get a turnover and they're coming down the court, I'm just going to foul, put them on the line. I'd rather make 2 free throws and we go to overtime than they make a half-court shot and we lose by 1.
Yep. Well, let's not forget, Chris Webber's timeout, right? 1993 against North Carolina, 11 seconds left. I think that probably changed the landscape, especially when you're down. Be cognizant and mindful how many timeouts you have, time on the clock, where's the possession, everything. So This will be a great learning lesson for all basketball players. But I think it was just shocking to me on what happened. Erin, what are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
You're on mute.
I totally agree with George. I don't think this game was won or lost on that. Yes, they lost on the last shot, but they had an opportunity to close it out well before that and pretty much put the gas to the pedal and not look back. So they let UConn back in with a lot of mistakes. So That's on Duke. And I think, ultimately too, I think what makes this story so great as well is the kid on the other side of the ball that actually shot it. And he was 0 for 4 up to that point. And so it's like, it's just like, those are the moments that make the tournament great, because you can't write them, you can't script them, you can't expect them. And so, I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. To your right, hang on to the ball, young man, dribble it, get it across the half line. But I mean, beyond that, I think, yeah, when you're young and in a situation and the pressure's on, yeah, sometimes your head is not thinking clearly. And so you just got to get repetition of, okay, when we're in these last moment situations, what do you do? Because a lot of that is just reaction, because you've trained it, not because you now have a new skill to learn. So George is right. This is going to be a great tool for every team everywhere.
Yeah, no doubt. That being said, George was so right to touch on that. Not
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. I said so many profound things in that last minute. I gave you guys who was going to win. I gave you guys lottery numbers. I told you everything in that muted moment. All right, so what I'm going to say here is that George, you're so right. That I was glad you touched on that, because everyone's going to blame Boozer for that, but it's a team sport. You guys let them back in, and that's a great testament to UConn players that they're just going to play till the final whistle, and they did. So, we could beat a dead horse. The last thing I want to say about that is you're right, Erin. That kid that made the shot for UConn, he was 0 for 4. I don't know his name, forgive me, but whatever, he should run for mayor. He should run for governor of Connecticut, because he's got the keys to the city right now. So now they just have to win. So, George, who you calling in UConn and Illinois?
I got UConn. I think those guys, man. And no disrespect to Illinois. Like, Illinois is a damn good team too. But I just think UConn they're playing with a different sense of urgency, playing like their backs against the wall, and I just want to see Bobby Hurley's antics a few more times. So he's a psychopath. I would love to have him. He's different. He's different. But at that level, when you're that successful, to do it over and over and over and over again, you had to be wired differently.
No doubt. Erin, who you calling in the
UConn, Illinois? I actually am going to go with Illinois. I kind of like the Fighting Illini. I think they're tough. They're a tough team. They might be the one that's a little underestimated now in the Final Four. So I'm cheering for the underdog in that game.
All right. I don't think we need to talk about Arizona and Michigan. We all know what's going to happen. So let's move on to the last segment. I got Arizona. This could come back to bite me in the ass, because I'm actually, I'm cheering with my heart. But the Cats are looking good. Michigan's looking good. Again, no disrespect to Illinois and UConn. That's going to be a great game. The championship's going to be a great game. I pick in Arizona. Who do you guys like?
I think tomorrow night is going to be a real dogfight between Michigan and Arizona. So I think I'm going to go with Arizona winning it overall.
Wow. George, who do you have, and who do you like in the taking it all?
I got Arizona. Michigan, they're huge. I don't know if they can keep up. I don't know if their bigs can keep up with Arizona's bigs, but that's why you play the game. It's going to be 2 fun games, just like the women's side. So I want 2 exciting games, but I have Arizona.
Got it. Perfect. Love to hear it. So let me ask you this: there's a vacancy at North Carolina. They're going to go after one of these coaches. Who are they going to go after?
Well, a lot of people are saying Billy Donovan. A lot of people are saying Brad Stevens. I don't think he's, obviously, I don't think he's going to leave the Celtics to go to North Carolina. It's so many good coaches.
Yeah.
There's so many good coaches. And obviously Tommy Lloyd is a hell of a coach. But he said he likes it at Arizona. So I don't know who North Carolina's going to hire. People are saying Kenny Smith. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's going to be a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but especially someone who knows how to recruit with NIL. And you got to kind of keep up with Duke now. Like John Shire has laid the path for Duke. And I just want to see the rivalry of Duke, North Carolina every year be the best rivalry in college sports. So whoever they hire is going to be a home run hire. And I hope, me being always been a North Carolina basketball fan for a very long time, I hope they put somebody in the right position to be successful.
Yeah, let's not rule out Bill Self too, because he made a name for himself at Illinois, and now he's didn't he just retire or step down from?
He just retired from Kansas.
Well, you get a phone call for $8 million. That might bring you out of retirement. Who knows? Well, cool. There we go. Well, go ahead, Erin.
No, I was going to ask. I think the other interesting thing I've seen so far in basketball is how many kids are recommitting to stay in play. So the kid in BYU, I think the Boozer twins, I think the one Cam, he's the real standout, correct? The bigger one of the two.
Yeah.
So it's good to see these kids are are looking to stick around a little bit longer.
Well, and it definitely helps with the Boozer boys who their dad is. I mean, his dad's kind of paved the way for him, not only with being at Duke, but also understanding the pitfalls of the NBA and so forth. So talking about NBA and professional sports, let's get into the draft, and then we'll take it home. We got the draft coming up. It's still a little bit premature because we have the Final Four. That's where all the tension is. But I thought it very interesting that the Raiders, who have the number 1 pick, signed Kirk Cousins to a very handsome deal. And what does that mean for Mendoza, the talk of the town all last season when he brought Indiana to a championship? What are your thoughts, George?
As a GM, what I'm thinking is they're bringing in Kirk Cousins to kind of be the starter to start, and then mold Mendoza into the starter. Kind of how the Packers did with Love, with Aaron Rodgers, kind of showing him the ropes of the NFL. And Kirk Cousins is a true professional.
Right.
He's won a lot of football games. He knows what it looks like. He's never been in the media for doing anything, crazy. He's always been a true professional in the NFL. So that's my thing. I think they're bringing him in to kind of, hey, Mendoza, you are the quarterback of the future, but we want to bring in someone to show you how it's done.
I totally agree. And let's not rule out the fact that Kirk Cousins, strong man of faith, Mendoza is a strong man of faith, so they have that going for it. And not that you could ever change the image of the Raiders, because the Raiders will always be the Raiders. But if you have some good, solid leaders like Kirk Cousins and Mendoza, it's going to make a big difference. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the NFL draft? Anything that stands out to you?
And you have Tom Brady, so
that's right.
You have two good quarterbacks.
That's right. That's right.
What do I think? Well, I'm a Denver Broncos fan for life, forever and ever. So I'm getting a little pissed at what the Raiders are doing. So not a Raiders fan, but I saw they signed Von Miller too. So I'm like, what is going down? The AFC West is going to be stacked with Kansas City, Denver, the Chargers, and the Raiders are obviously making moves.
That's going to be That's going to be a great division.
Whew. So, okay, Raiders, you can knock it off. Denver Broncos, I don't know what you're doing. We missed up on when we didn't draft Josh Allen. So, got to trust that all these teams kind of have a strategy and a game plan. But I think for Mendoza, I think it's so great for him to be able to have that opportunity to learn under somebody that's been in the NFL for a while. It's high pressure, and you watch the young men that get drafted high, go in, play right away. It is like this. You think life is hard knocks, that would be hard knocks.
No doubt.
You know, like you look at the Trevor Lawrences and you watch them get their footing, but it's like what versus, like, let's say a Jordan Love, to your point earlier, if they have kind of that grace of a year, couple years, even a Patrick Mahomes, it accelerates their performance. And so I think this is going to serve him well. And hopefully it doesn't serve the Raiders well against my Broncos.
I love it. Some of the most successful quarterbacks in NFL history have always had a great mentor ahead of them. Let's remember Tom Brady had Drew Bledsoe, right? And then
Bledsoe.
Steve Young had Joe Montana. It's once in a lifetime that you see somebody like an Aikman or a Marino that just steps in and lights it up. But you know, Aikman had his problems in the beginning, not because of his talent, just the what he had surrounded around him. And once they built an incredible line and offense around him, he was incredibly balanced and incredibly talented. Well, awesome, team. I said 30 minutes. We've carried a little bit over. We had a lot of good things to talk about. George, this is fantastic. George, we cannot wait to talk to you next week after the championships for both men and women. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton more current events. And we'll talk to you next week. And hopefully you'll be around. Make it a 4-peat, not just a 3-peat. Erin, George, you guys have a fantastic weekend. You guys rock and roll. Appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Thomas.